We can't help but fall in love with an absolute badass MC. Things get even better when our hero is extremely proud of his insane powers and loves to show off. Welcome back to Animeology. We've got a collection of our absolute favorite animes with the main character that is the ultimate badass show-off. Stick around to the end of this list because you definitely do not want to miss out. Number 10. Problem children are coming from another world, aren't they? A brilliant blend of action and comedy set across a fun fantasy world. This is a reasonably well-known series with some of the most insanely overpowered characters you will ever come across in an anime series. We follow 3 children that live extremely boring lives because they maintain some insanely overpowered and unmatched psychic powers. The story kicks off when they receive an envelope that transports them to a fantasy realm filled with high-powered magical people that use their powers to play dangerous games for money and respect. The kids are happy that there's finally a challenge to their sheer, overpowered abilities and get caught up in this exciting new world. But they soon learn about the demon lords that run this new isekai world and plan to overthrow them. An epic tale that starts off small and takes us through some very interesting characters and world building in their little community, but begins to grow grander in scale and the children take on more and more powerful enemies. Number 9. Noblesse. As the years tick on, anime fans around the world are starting to realize that great anime and manga does not have to exclusively come out of Japan. We're starting to see that the South Korean industry has some fantastic ideas behind it, and Noblesse is a prime example. An awesome dark fantasy series that tells us the story of a powerful noble that has slept for 800 years with no knowledge of mankind's scientific and technological developments. The story kicks off with Rai waking up in an abandoned building and slowly getting used to the modern world. Attending school, Rai is reunited with his loyal servant, Frankenstein, slowly gathering a group of interesting friends with some very unique and fresh character chemistry between them. Some seriously mature and complex character interactions had us intrigued and kept bringing us back for more. The anime's overall story arc attempts to explain the true past and history of Rai, our powerful and mysterious MC, while learning of a secret organization and some heavy truths about the new world. Number 8. Overlord. A phenomenal dark fantasy series with an awesome sense of humor to it. A unique black comedy series that is not afraid to go to some interesting places across its well thought out and interestingly designed isekai world. Set in the year 2026, we learn of a hugely popular MMORPG game. Unlike most other games, this is famous for its insanely high level of realism and how players can interact with the game. The series kicks off after the game has been running for an impressive 12 years and the servers are to be shut down. We follow the members of one of the strongest guilds in the game, once dominating the entire server but now with only 4 members remaining, maintaining their headquarters. As the servers begin to shut down, only one character, Momonga, invites his fellow guild members to the game, but they only log in for a short while before leaving. This saddens the Overlord as he waits for the shutdown time to pass. But the Overlord soon realizes that the game hasn't logged him out and he's stuck in the game world. Extremely overpowered with a name and guild that strikes fear into all around him, our MC travels the world of Overlord as a living legend, looking to get to the bottom of everything that's happening. Number 7. The 7 Deadly Sins. Easily one of the most famous and recognizable anime of all time, The 7 Deadly Sins is one of the peak adventure fantasy anime series that has ever been released. Impressing fans around the world in its manga from 2012, the series has since been adopted into a light novel, film, video game, and anime form. The core story itself tells the story of the 7 Deadly Sins. This is a collection of knights that travel across the mythical realm of Britannia. Framed and accused of crimes they never committed, this elite band of highly trained warriors were forced to split up. But things have changed and their leader, Meliodas, brings the knights back together again so that they can clear their names and save Britannia from evil demons and untrustworthy forces. With some epic battles and some crazy levels of overpoweredness, Seven Deadly Sins has a lot of absolute badass characters that love to show off. Number 6. Aesthetica of a Rogue Hero. A bit more lighthearted and a lot more traditional, Aesthetica of a Rogue Hero doesn't really look to innovate much, but definitely brings a high level of polish to its core action fantasy roots. A really interesting setting in a world where young men and women would occasionally find themselves randomly teleported to a fantasy world full of swords and magic. Only the greatest survive, and those that do are gifted with some impressive magical abilities. A training organization is set up and helps guide these magic users with their new powers. The story follows Akatsuki and a beautiful magic-enabled girl, Miu. Miu is the daughter of the last Dark Lord, a fighter that Akatsuki just defeated in combat. A really interesting character dynamic that the anime explores in a very unique way. Definitely worth watching for the chemistry and relationships between the MC and, of course, to see how ridiculously overpowered Akatsuki becomes with a little bit of training. Number 5. World Break. Aria of Curse for a Holy Swordsman. The title is a bit of a mouthful, but the anime definitely gives you a lot to chew on. A really fun action fantasy mix with a slow building harem. World Break started off as a successful light novel series that developed into both a brilliant manga and anime series. World Break sets up some really interesting and engaging plots from very early on. Even the most distant story arcs still feel heavily motivated and important towards the overarching story, primarily taking place at the prestigious Akane Academy, a school for students with special powers trained to battle and defeat monsters. Motoha Haimura, our hero, has memories of past lives as a prince and swords master, as well as memories of a mage and king of the Netherworld. These memories grant Motoha insanely strong sword and magic skills and make him so insanely overpowered. The story of World Break has a lot to go into, from the interesting characters in his harem to exploring the backstories of Motoha's past lives. A really brilliant series with a fantastic pacing that never wastes any time. Number 4. Darker Than Black. One of the smoothest and coolest anime series out there, Darker Than Black is an absolutely brilliant mystery series that isn't afraid to incorporate heavy science fiction and supernatural elements. With some of the coolest and calmest characters out there, the gripping thriller had us glued to our seats from the very first episode. Set in a strange version of the world with the appearance of a weird spatial anomaly known as Heaven's Gate appearing in South America alongside the opening of Hell's Gate in Tokyo, drastically altering the sky and absolutely destroying the landscape. We see the development of these strange individuals with strong special abilities, all with powerful supernatural abilities. These superpowered individuals are known as contractors, and their strong abilities make them extremely useful to both government and powerful secretive organizations. These contractors slowly begin to lose their emotions and their grip on humanity, murdering in cold blood, to say the least. Darker Than Black sets up some very interesting concepts, and further pushes the boundary when posing ethical and philosophical questions while not afraid to get heavy with politics and drama. At the core of the story is a contractor by the name of Hei, undertaking various secret missions and assassinations until he discovers some heavy truths and sends his journey on a crazy spiral. Number 3. Ari Ferretta, From Commonplace to World's Strongest. Another brilliant fantasy isekai series, Ari Ferretta shows the journey from normal to ultimate overpowered powerhouse quite unlike any other. Following Hajime Nagumo as he's transported from our world to a magical fantasy realm, but with some interesting twists that really set this anime apart from the rest. Hajime didn't exactly love his normal life on Earth, constantly bullied and mocked by his classmates while still having a great relationship with the most beautiful girl in the class. When they get transported into an isekai realm, everyone gets these crazy powers, but Hajime gets some pretty basic alchemy magic that is mainly used by craftsmen. During a dungeon raid, one of his classmates betrays Hajime and he falls to the bottom of a dungeon. With no choice, he does whatever it takes to survive and creates basic weapons and attempts to escape the dungeon. Through his journey, our hero becomes stronger and stronger and meets up with a number of interesting and engaging characters. From dragons to vampires, Ari Ferretta had us constantly guessing where it would go. Number 2. Black Clover. Making huge waves on release, the Black Clover hype has definitely died down a little bit with some brilliant arcs coming up. This is a series you definitely want to get involved with. Delivering a well-polished mix of adventure fantasy, Black Clover doesn't exactly innovate, but can certainly be considered the best in class. The series itself focuses on a young orphan by the name of Asta. Whereas most people are born in this world with the ability to harness this powerful magical ability, Asta has no magical ability whatsoever but chooses to focus on raw physical strength, as opposed to Yuno, another orphan with insane magical abilities. The two journey across and look to become the next Wizard King, with a friendly rivalry between the two as they travel across the brilliantly designed world of Black Clover, encountering all sorts of interesting and well thought out characters on their epic journey. The series itself has recently ended, with a lot of material to get into, from an awesome manga series that is still ongoing, a fantastic game, as well as an upcoming anime film that we cannot wait to check out. Number 1. Food Wars. Easily one of the most original and fun anime series out there. Food Wars is a combination of a comedy and slice of life series set against the world of high stakes and intense cooking. Starting life as a manga and seeing a decent level of success as a manga, Food Wars has since become a successful and long-running anime series that you should definitely check out. Set against an elite cooking school in Tokyo with top secret labs, cooking classrooms, and intense competitions, we follow the teenager Soma Yukihira, aiming to become a full-time chef in his father's restaurant, in the hopes of one day becoming a better chef than his father. Signing up to this elite culinary school and joining up with a number of food competitions. The core plot behind every episode of Food Wars follows his adventures and the interesting challenges and people he comes across on his journey to become the greatest chef around. Contrary to most slice-of-life anime, things do start to change throughout Food Wars, with some crazy battles and some hilarious moments quite unlike anything we've ever seen. Food Wars is an anime series you need to watch.